Hey everyone, I'm Ray and welcome to my kitchen. Today we are going to make a delicious cherry Chewbilee dessert. And this is a dessert that I actually like to make with frozen cherries because you can make it year round and it's so delicious. And everything that's going into our cherry Chewbilee, it's like a cobbler kind of. There's no crust on the bottom, but it will have kind of a crumbly, streusel-y kind of topping, or I should say. And I think you're really gonna like this one. It's delicious. So it's all healthy ingredients. So let me just talk about the ingredients really quick, and then you will see how quickly this thing comes together. The longest pole in the tent in making this is throwing it in the oven. The beauty of it is that's the passive cooking part. So it's long, but you don't have to do anything. You just let it bake and the oven does all the work. So I've got my oven preheating behind me, and if it beeps, that means it's reached temperature. In the meantime, let's talk about these ingredients. So we're going to start out with the cherries. Now, these are cherries that I buy at natural grocers, and here's what the package looks like. They are organic dark cherries, and they are absolutely delicious. They're already pitted, so I don't need to do anything with them except take them out of the freezer and put them in the bowl. And I'm just putting them in the bowl to actually demonstrate to you and show you what they are. Really, you could go directly out of the freezer and into the baking pan. So we'll set those aside for a minute. And I want to let you know, cherries are so good for you. They are loaded with antioxidants. They are have phytochemicals in them, and that helps you to reduce inflammation in your body, which is great. Excellent for arthritis, excellent for gout because of its anti-inflammatory properties. So I love that. There's a lot of vitamin C. There's a lot of potassium, and the potassium is really good to help control blood pressure. So if anyone is, needing to keep an eye on their blood pressure, eating more cherries might actually help with that. And that's my oven. So cherries are also said to help you sleep better. They do have a bit of melatonin in them. And so you're getting a natural boost of melatonin when you eat cherries. The other thing is that cherries are really good when you have sore muscles. So they really help reduce muscle soreness, and that's because of its anti-inflammatory properties. So it gives you a faster recovery time. A lot of people drink cherry juice after workouts just so that they can kind of get ahead of muscle soreness when they're doing heavy duty workouts. And so anyway, this is one of my favorite ways to get cherries in your diet, but there are many ways to get cherries in your diet, including just eating cherries, just plain by themselves. But I actually need to bring a dessert to a football party, and so this is what I decided to bring. This would be great for Christmas, it would be great for Thanksgiving, it's great in spring. I mean, any time of the year, this would be a great dessert. So that's cherries. Now, we're also going to be using some oats. I like to use these are called protein oats, and I get them at natural grocers as well. These are from Bob's Red Mill, so hopefully you can see the packaging there. And 1/3 of a cup of these oats actually has 9 grams of protein. But oats are also loaded with fiber, and it's what's called a soluble fiber. And what that does is it not only makes you feel satiated, meaning makes you feel fuller for a longer period of time, but it also helps clear out your digestive system. So it kind of pushes things through your system. So you get great fiber and you get some protein with these oats. And these are said to be gluten-free. Now, I know Dr. Osborne would probably argue with me on that because all grains have some level of gluten, but it is probably a lower amount of gluten in this particular oat than what you get in a standard oat. So, and it's organic, which I love that. Okay, now and there's fiber. Or did I say fiber? I think I said fiber. Okay. Now we're also going to put some pecans in this dish, and pecans are heart healthy. This is polyunsaturated and monounsaturated healthy for you fats. So I like to use pecans in this dish just also because of the flavor profile. It tastes delicious. It gives it a nice buttery taste. But also there are definite health benefits of eating Pecans. Now, because of their high fat content, they are also high in calories. So you can't go crazy with the pecans. And there's also protein in these pecans, which adds to the protein that we're getting in oats. So we're getting a nice mix of protein and fat and fiber and some carbohydrates as well. So next up, let's talk about coconut. Now, coconut is so delicious, and it also has lots of antioxidants in it. It has copper, it has manganese, which is great for bone health, and I just like the way it tastes. So we've got that going in. Now I've also got some spices here. Let me show you the spices. This is the Ceylon cinnamon, and if you haven't read my article on cinnamons, this cinnamon is a milder cinnamon, and I choose this cinnamon because I don't have to keep track of how much of this cinnamon I eat in a day. If you eat some of the other cinnamons like Vietnamese cinnamon or Saigon cinnamon, they're very spicy cinnamons, and they can have toxins if you eat too much of it. So although it's good for your body in moderation, this one is just, you don't have to worry about how much you eat. And that's why I choose the Ceylon cinnamon. And I tend to use a little bit more of this cinnamon because it isn't as spicy as the others. Still, it tastes delicious. I've also got some nutmeg that we're going to put in here. And then you've heard me talk about vanilla powder. And so this is the vanilla powder. I use a brand it's called Vanilla King, and I buy it on Amazon, and I'll put a link in the show notes below. And I choose this over a vanilla extract primarily because extracts are made with sugar alcohols, and so I'm trying not to eat sugar alcohols. The other thing about this vanilla powder is it adds a different depth of flavor. I don't really know how to describe it, but when you taste it, you can tell it's different, and it's a little bit richer than just a regular extract. Now, certainly, if you don't have this on hand and you're dying to make this dish, you can use whatever you have on hand. But it's super easy to get on Amazon. You get it in a couple days if you're a Prime member. And I recommend keeping this in your pantry over an extract. And then the final ingredient to kind of sweeten all this up, because the cherries do tend to be a little tart. And so what I like is this great balance between the tartness of the cherries and the sweetness of, not sugar, sugar from Mother Nature, date paste. Shocking, right? So you hear me talk about date paste a lot. And I choose date paste over a refined sugar just primarily because dates are from Mother Nature, and refined sugar is made in a factory with high heat, and I just don't want that kind of processing. So I choose a date paste, and I make it myself, and I keep it in my freezer. It'll keep in the freezer for 3 months. And it's a lower glycemic food, which basically means that the fiber in the date helps kind of reduce a blood sugar spike. So if you ate white sugar, say, or even brown sugar, processed sugars, you're going to get an instant insulin spike, or a sugar spike, I should say. When you eat the date paste, because of the fiber in it, your spike isn't as dramatic, let's put it that way. So yes, it is sugar, and yes, it is sweet, but it is not as, it doesn't give you a blood sugar spike the way a processed sugar would. I hope that makes sense. And it also adds a different depth of flavor because the date paste kind of has it's a little caramely. And so all these things together are going to make just such a delicious dessert. Now, we're going to set the cherries aside for a moment, and we're going to focus on this topping. And the topping is going to be basically all these dry ingredients, and then we're going to add the date paste. All right. So I'll give you all the proportions of everything in the recipe, and then you can link to it from down below. But basically, we're going to go with 2 cups of oats. We're going to go with 2 cups of coconut, and just so you know, this is unsweetened coconut. I buy organic. I buy it at natural grocers, but you can buy it at Whole Foods. You can buy it at Safeway, I'm pretty sure. And then these are just chopped pecans. And so we're going to put 2 cups of chopped pecans. And then we're going to get these beautiful spices. We're going to put the cinnamon and the nutmeg and the vanilla bean. And so we've got all the dry ingredients here. I'm just gonna give those a quick mix up, and then we are going to go ahead and add the date paste. And again, the date paste not only adds sweetness, but it also kind of caramelizes. And so if you've ever had like an apple crisp or a pear crisp, this is kind of what you're going to get with this combination of ingredients. It's gonna be delicious. Okay, so I think we've got that good and combined here, blended together. So let me grab the date paste and we'll add that in, and then we will assemble this. So here we have the date paste. Again, it was in my freezer, and I think I took it out of the freezer maybe a half hour ago. And so we're just going to add this in. Now this is pre-measured, this is 2 cups, and I'm gonna put all of it in. Now, the one thing I am going to tell you is whenever you are baking with date paste, particularly in a topping like what we're doing here, what you need to do is you need to kind of keep an eye on it, because the heat of the oven could actually caramelize this to the point of burning it, right? So I like to go at 375. A lot of people go at 400 when they do dishes like this, but it's different when you're doing it with butter versus when you're doing it with the date paste. So I like to go at about 25 degrees less for a little bit longer period of time, right? So we're just going to give this a quick mix, and then we're going to set this aside. I did want to give you a quick little tip on this before we start assembling it. So a lot of times when you're mixing dry ingredients with wet ingredients, and you're just combining them, one of the things I like to do is I like to use the back of the spoon. So you can stir and stir and stir and still never get it combined. But if you kind of press the moisture from whether it's date paste, whether it's almond butter, cashew butter, if you kind of mush it with the back of the spoon, it tends to combine a little bit better. And I actually like doing that because it's less work on my part. Okay, I think this is nice and combined, and so now we're ready to assemble. Okay, so I put the cherries in a small baking dish here, and I put it on a cookie sheet with some parchment paper. Sometimes it gets kind of bubbly and I don't want it to bubble over into the oven, so I like to put it on a cookie sheet and then have parchment paper on it, so if it bubbles over, all I have to do is crumple up the parchment paper and throw it away. Okay, so now we are ready to add our streusel. This is a lot of topping for this particular dish, but I am going to use the leftovers from this, and I'm making another cobbler just like this, but with peaches instead of cherries. So I have some frozen peaches that I'm going to use. I'm going to put them in a similar sized dish, and then I'm going to add the rest of the topping to that and make a second dessert for another event that I'm going to. So you want this crumble to kind of be crumbly. You know, it's intended to be kind of rustic, I guess I'll say. And again, we're going to have to watch it because we don't want it to get overcooked and we don't want the date paste to burn, but we do want it to be nice and bubbly and cooked. So this is going to cook for about an hour at 375, and we'll just keep an eye on it while it's baking. And if it tends to get a little, what seems burned a little bit or a little too dark for our liking, then we're going to cover it with foil, and that'll keep it from getting any more dark. Now, I actually like it crunchy because I like the crunchy texture with the kind of chewy cherries that are going to be underneath. But you do you, and whatever works for your taste buds and your palate and whoever you're serving to. So let's go ahead and pop this one in the oven, and then we'll be back for a taste once it comes out. And welcome back. We have our beautiful cherry Chewbilee that we've taken out of the oven, and I've spooned a little bit out so it could cool so we can have a taste. But I wanted to let you know I did end up putting a little piece of foil over top, maybe the last 15 minutes or so of baking. It was getting rather crispy, you can see especially on the edges, but it's not overcooked, so it's perfect. And that pan is still hot. So I am dying to try this. Now, the hardest part, I think, about making this dish is actually waiting for it to get out of the oven. So let's dive in and see how she tastes. I want to make sure we get a little bit of cherry and then a good chunk of the topping in this bite. Wow. This is delicious. The cherries are delicious. The topping is wonderful. So the oats are coming through very strong. The pecans are delicious. They have a nice buttery flavor that they add to it. I'm tasting the seasonings, but they're not overpowering. It's a really nice balance of flavors. A little bit of sweet and tart from the cherries, a little bit of sweet, and then a little bit of, I don't know what the right word is. I don't want to say earthy, but I mean, it has more flavor than a pie crust, and I like that. And it is a little more rustic, I guess I'll call it. So maybe earthy is not the right word. Rustic is probably the right word. Anyway, it is delicious. The flavors are fantastic. And again, it was so easy to put together. The hardest part was waiting for it to come out of the oven. Bon appetit, everyone. I hope you'll try this recipe.